Let's preview the Newcastle game, shall we? After 2 away games, we're back at home this weekend. Newcastle, the visitors. Alfie, they had a hammering at the weekend, but they've been on a nice little run before that. So what can we expect from this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed to see that Bournemouth result, and to be fair to them,
Weren't we all?
They continue to do unbelievably well. I saw a tweet which I thought was quite funny. Is how long is it going to be before Spurs ruin Iraola's career? And I think that, he's definitely heading that way. But for Newcastle, I mean, they kept. They kept 4 clean sheets in their last 5 games, I think, before that, and pretty much won all of them. They were a mean defence. They've got goals in Alexander Isak, who was on for a Premier League record. Obviously, remember when Jamie Vardy set the Premier League record for 11 goals in consecutive games against Man United, 10 years ago now, and he had 9, I think, in a row. A couple of them were hat tricks. Anthony Gordon, Jacob Murphy. Is it Jacob or Josh? We can't remember which one it is. The good Murphy brother. They've got so many good players, and to be dismantled like that. I'd think back to the trip to Newcastle, obviously the first game of this season. It just feels like so long ago. It really does. It feels like such a long time ago. But I guess how much have we progressed since then? Probably not much. At least we haven't got to worry about the Ben Brereton Diaz derby at this point. I mean, because they're still annoyed about that. Newcastle fans, they still tweet about that constantly.
It'll be in the comments somewhere, won't it?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, and I'm glad that he's not here for that. But I think despite what happened to Newcastle the weekend, it's still a game that I'm obviously worried about. I think that Eddie Howe's obviously a good manager, as much as it pains Steve to say, and they're going to be looking for a reaction. They've got so much quality. I guess we'll just have to see how things go on.
I saw a bit of the game, Glenn. I saw some of the highlights. It just felt to me that Bournemouth just never let Newcastle settle. Is that kind of like the way to get about them? Is that what we're going to have to do?
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle are a big physical challenge. The midfield. Joe Linton. He's a funny player. He had a sort of obviously a bad start to his Newcastle career when they thought he was a striker, and then he became a midfield player. And played really, really well. I watch him some games, and I'm thinking, well, he doesn't seem to add that much apart from getting involved in fights. That seems to be sort of like what he does. They've obviously got Tonali back from his gambling suspension, and Bruno Guimaraes in midfield. So that those 3 in midfield, that's a proper midfield. It's got a bit of everything in there. Including physicality, so you really have to stand up to that, which is what Bournemouth did. They didn't take a backward step, even though Bournemouth have got some very sort of like young defenders, Hussein and who's the other one, Sabani. They're only sort of 21, 19, whatever, but they were right in the faces when it all got a bit sort of push and shove when Newcastle started losing. So, I think that's what you have to do. You have to front up to it. So I think players, the central defenders, Bednarek, and in midfield, it'd probably be Leslie Ugachukwu and Joe Aribo. They have to stand up to that and fight for every inch throughout the game. We can't afford to have, people jogging around or standing off. We have got to be right on it all game. Otherwise, they're going to, and they obviously Eddie Howe would be spending this week telling his players that was just a blip. And what a perfect team to be playing after you've just had a blip.
Yeah, right.
So they'll be coming down, trying, wanting to put in a performance to, because I mean, let's face it, the Champions League spots are wide open this year, aren't they? I mean, and Manchester City look like they're going, they're getting back to something approaching decent form now. Arsenal are flaky, Chelsea are flaky. So there's a decent opportunity for Newcastle if they can get back on it and put together another run of wins. So yeah, it's a very tough game. I think they've beaten us pretty much comfortably the last few years. They'll be expecting to beat us again on Saturday, and we just got to hope it's the game where we put together a 90-minute performance instead of a less time than that performance, and then we might have a chance.
It's a good point, isn't it, Steve, that Glenn makes? I mean, for them, this is going to be, on paper, a nice little game for them. They'll be looking at this going, yep, we can bounce back.
Yeah, it should do, and they've got a full week to build up to it as well. Obviously, European games this week that they're not involved in, so yeah, full week's preparation. I mean, I think Eddie Howe will have watched the Bournemouth performance and kind of spotted a lot of himself in there. I mean, basically, whenever Bournemouth gave the ball away in either the Newcastle defensive third or in the midfield, within 2 seconds there was a foul. Literally just stop the game dead. Everybody gets themselves back in position, reorganise. And Bournemouth under him were brilliant at that. Newcastle now under him are also brilliant at that. And yeah, Iraola has kind of taken them to a new level now. But yeah, certainly Newcastle will be looking at us and obviously seeing our defensive record, and Isak will be licking his lips and thinking, well, okay, it's just the start of a new run. I mean, he's quality. He's a player that, I mean, basically, if Newcastle don't get top 4, he's surely gone, because he should be playing at the very highest level. And they've got a few players in there who if they do fail to make the top 4 or 5, as it's likely to be this year, actually, with the way the coefficients are, then quite a few of them might be heading for the exit, which is kind of not really the way the Saudi dream was sold to people up on Tyneside, was it? It's been a funny old year and a half for them. But I mean, the run they've just been on before Saturday was absolutely extraordinary. Like 9 wins on the bounce, as you say. I think they only conceded like 3 goals in that run, and they've played some good sides in there as well. So yeah, I mean, let's be under no illusions. This is going to be a hell of a hard ask for us on Saturday to get anything from it, given that we've not been able to get points against a lot of the sides around us half the time. So let alone the good ones.
We've got a decent rest though before this one, Alfie, which is nice. So who kind of starts? Is it the team that finished on Sunday, do you think?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly who finished on Sunday, but I mean, I imagine it'll be the
we're not going to see Archer and Armstrong, are we?
No, it'll be the reverse of the 3 changes, I would have thought. Leslie will come in for Flynn, and a couple of strikers will come in, obviously Camaldine and Paul Amo-Ameyaw, I would imagine. I think obviously people will say, why is James Bree sort of being shoehorned in? I don't think he's being shoehorned in. He can play that position proficiently, but I think he's just proven that, maybe it's too much of an ask at the Premier League for him, so maybe they do something there. But he's not got many options, has he? I mean, every time they bring a sub on, it fails, and that can't just be the manager. It has to be the quality of the players as well. So I think he's going to keep a fairly tight-knit squad in terms of the ones that he's using, the ones that he likes. So there might be a debut, I suppose, if they can get Albert Grumbach over the line. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Obviously, a Danish midfielder, Danish international from Stade Rennes, which I'm not expecting to be done sort of now, but it could be in the next sort of 24 hours from when this goes up, which would mean he'll be available to play. So presumably he's fit and ready, I imagine he'll be in the squad. So that's something to look forward to, I suppose. In a limited list of things to look forward to.
It makes it tricky to do some score predictions, though, doesn't it? But we will try our very best. If you're watching live, stick your score predictions in the comments. Steve, do you want to go first? Score prediction for this one?
Oh God, I think we'll score again. We seem to have suddenly worked out how to take a corner at least, so that bodes well. So
progress.
Yeah, it is. It's only taken us till the end of January. Glory be. I think we'll struggle to get anything out of this. It's going to be another one of those games where you just want to see something, some kind of sign that there's a team cohesion, that certain players are picking up their roles in a relatively new formation for everybody. But ultimately, I think Newcastle should be too strong for us. But obviously, hope that they're not. Hope they have another off day like they did on Saturday. But I think we'll score. But probably come out the wrong end of a 2-1.
I think that's going to be quite a popular one. Glenn?
I agree with everything Steve said, really. I think I agree. I think we'll get a goal. It'll be interesting to see Sulemana up against Tino Livramento. Tino was obviously a fullback that was better going forward than he was defensively. And I think the same is true of Lewis Hall on the other side. So I guess it'll be Sugawara pushing up that wing. So we might have some joy down the wings. Obviously, we would hope to be a threat at set pieces, especially if the big guy plays. But they got their own big guy, of course. He's a big, horrible, aggressive defender. So it'd be interesting to see how Paul gets on with him, with Dan Burn. So
I mean, to be fair, Glen, Dan's not the only one, is he? I mean, they've got, like, say, Joelinton, who's huge, nasty, Botman. Yeah, they've got so many.
Yeah, so if we stand out to them physically, we have to stand out to them physically to have any chance in the game. But I think too many things have got to fall in our favour for us to get a result out of this one. So I will go slightly less optimistic than Steve and go for a 3-1 to Newcastle.
So what we're saying is maybe not this week then. Alfie, any difference?
No, I'll copy Glenn. I will go for a 3-1 for Newcastle as well. That's what I was going to go for. Maybe a bit of an audition for Aaron Ramsdale potentially. Looking ahead to the summer, he'll be hoping to do a bit better than he did on the weekend. But that Newcastle is probably a club. I know that he's obviously been linked, but that's a club where I could definitely see him ending up. West Ham's the other one that I've been sort of guessing. There's no information there, it's just a guess. But I think they're the sort of clubs that we can rely on maybe to give us our money back if we need it. Let's see.